Good afternoon to all. I'm just checking the sound at the moment. If we could just have some show of hands that the sound is clear. And we'll definitely start in about 2 minutes time, if that's okay. Hi there, Colin. Hi, Giza. How are you guys doing? Osama. Brilliant. Okay, so it's loud and clear. We'll just get onto it in about 2 minutes time. And we'll be right with you. I'm just going to be testing the screen share as well. Give me a second, guys. Right, I've got my screen at the moment on the Euro USD 1 hour chart. Just get going in about a minute or so. Just to check whether you guys could hear me okay and see my screen clearly. Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Giza. Thank you for that. A spider web. It's actually one of the pattern, but yes, you could say it. I've never come to a spider web pattern as yet with summer, but you never know. It's a lot of patterns coming, forming up in the market. This one here is sort of a Z pattern, but we'll go through that in a minute for Euro USD. It's quite interesting pairs that we will be talking about today. All right, I'll just share my screen on, give me a second, the economic calendar for now, so you guys could take a look. This is for the whole week. This week, we've got, I've filtered out the high impact news, so you could take a look, so you guys could take a look, and you could do that easily as well. Go on to fxtree.com and you can actually filter out, or on orbex.com, we've got the economic calendar as well. So either way, you could filter out the economic calendar based on high impact news. Okay, so the 3 exclamation mark. As you can see, this whole week we've got quite a number of pairs, but more concentration on the JPY in the early start of the week. Then you've got the pound and the Canadian dollar at the end of the week as well. Okay, but now since Friday was the ECB release on data, we're looking at some spillover of movements for the euro. So we will be speaking about euro as well today. Okay, a couple of things that I've noticed on the euro, and we can always do that. Give me a second. All right, we will just start in a minute or so. Okay. I've actually shared one of the trade ideas on Orbex, African Orbex Malaysia as well, on our main Orbex Facebook page as well. And this one here is for the Euro USD 1 hour chart. It's one of the patterns that I have spotted, and we will talk about this one here today. And we'll also go over with gold and silver, a couple of patterns that we can actually check. All right. All right, guys, I think it's time for us to finally get going. So I will start. Give me a second. Okay, first hand, I've got some questions. Brilliant, Osama. Yes, we'll go over Euro USD straight away. All right, first of all, first and foremost, I would like to welcome everyone. Good afternoon to everyone, or good evening to the ones who are from the rest of the world. And welcome to today's market analysis via Orbex on the Orbex platform, live market commentary as well. So we will be going straight on to today's trade ideas, and we'll discuss. If you guys got any questions, feel free, but I would prefer for your questions to come later after we've actually gone through the analysis. Okay, so keep your questions at bay, so that will speed up the process. So we go on to the trade ideas, and if you've got any related questions, you jot it down, and then you ask me at the end once we have actually gone through all these trade ideas for today. Okay, so let us start. We will, if I've got some questions, but you can always repeat that later on at the end as well. Okay, so let us just start for today. Before we go on, we just want to look into what's going on in the market, as I've mentioned earlier on, based on the how do you call that, the economic calendar for the whole week, as I have actually mentioned. As you guys could see on my screen as well, we've got quite a number of data release scheduled for this week, and we have got starting from tomorrow, we have got a couple of data release there. So this could actually be moving some of the markets, especially for the yen. We've got some expectation for yen to be moved because you've got the Bank of Japan monetary policy, which will be announced tomorrow. Okay, and that's GMT 5 in the morning, so it should be before London Open tomorrow. So we will have that, and we also have the end of the week, as I've mentioned as well. We've got the pound and the Canadian dollar, and they're all very highly impacted data that are scheduled for both coming out from the Bank of England as well as the Bank of Canada. So we're looking at some patterns that have actually formed for these pairs as well. Okay, so just to be aware that these ones here are the timings that you would need to be careful as well once you have your trade either open or about to enter a trade. Okay, so you have got these data to actually take a look, be aware of them, know about the timing. Okay, and let us now go on to the Euro USD. Okay, I'll just speak about the Euro USD because we have had quite a big break on the upside right after it fell. As you guys know, you see just a fall here, which is only quarter of the entire move upwards. It has actually recovered and went all the way up there. Okay, what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to get rid of all these yellow lines that you see. It's one of the pattern, but we will redraw this pattern. Okay, I will move. Let me move this. Give me a second, guys. I want to move my box here. Okay, now as you can see, what's clear as of Friday is that we've got a big move that has formed a sort of pole and flag pattern, which looks something like this here. Okay, I hope it's clear for you guys. Let me just enlarge it a little bit. Okay, so this one here, as you can see, it's for the Euro USD on a 1 hour chart. Now that have actually, if we look at the positions of the candles, they're all above the 3 EMA or exponential moving average, and that long move or big move upwards with longish candles have actually formed the pole part of the flag pattern. So the flag pattern, as you can see, the flag part is actually the downward move. Now to qualify a flag and pole pattern, usually you have got a, let me just draw it here for you. Okay, you've got, let's say, a big move upwards. Okay, it could be a straight long candle move like that, okay, upwards, or it could simply be a very clear movement that is actually on a 12 o'clock angle, as you can see. Okay, it doesn't matter how long or how much in pips on that part, and then you'll be looking at a downward move like this. But this downward move is usually a sort of channel, okay, a channel down. All right, so that makes a flag and pole. So that's the pole part here, okay, and then that is your flag part there. All right, so this flag and pole pattern usually gives us a bit of a signal where if prices plays around here, okay, because it's a downward channel, it's more likely to break upwards. And if it does break upwards, it'll go quite significantly upwards, and that distance is usually similar to that distance here. Okay, so let us measure that right away. So you have got a potential for prices first to play around this channel. So now it's actually scheduled to be not scheduled but forecasted for it to actually make a move downwards again here, and we don't actually know how choppy the market will be in within the channel, but usually a flag and pole pattern would look into a downward channel like this and break out upwards. So if it does break out that channel here, then you're looking at a big potential for it to rise up as large or as big as that previous movement on Friday. Okay, so you could always take minimal movement and aim at about 50 to 100 or 110, 120 pips. But of course, as of Friday, we have got a movement, if I measure from body to body, that is actually more than 300 over pips as of Friday. Okay, or even half of that, there's a potential if it does break out of that, but it's a matter of timing as well. Okay, which means that we would need to play along that move at this moment on the downside or in within this channel down. And once it's actually rise up and breaks above, there's also a risk once it breaks above. Usually if it does break above, it'll come back down first before it rise up even more. Okay, so if it does break out, a lot of people would actually think, okay, let's place a buy there, but then they get actually played out a little bit because they go into a bit of negative because it comes back down. So it breaks out from here. It may not break out now, it may come back down here first, play around here, and depends on the strength of the market, depends on the factors, depends on the data release as well that we can actually see, okay, impacting either the euro or the US. Okay, so it might come back up, and if the trend is strong enough for it to actually just rise up, then it might rise up and make a smaller return to the breakout point and then go up. But if the trend on the downside is more, then it might actually it may actually go back and forth in this channel longer. Okay, so it all depends on the strength of the market, the strength of the trend. So that's what's expected. But I would like to also look into the trend for now. Okay, of course, if we look into the 1 hour chart, I want you to also go back or go to the 5 minute chart as well and look at what's going on in the 5 minute chart. The 5 minute chart will give you an idea, a sort of signal of what's going on in terms of the trend, in terms of the strength of the trend. Okay, so in this sense, you can see that it's actually on a downside. Why? Because you see you've got resistance here, you've got resistance on the 100 moving average, and you've got it resisting there, and then you've got some more resistance here. Okay, so what does that make there? Here, for example, we have got it resisting at almost the same area here. So this area here is signaling to us that there is a strong resistance between these two red lines here, okay, within this zone. Okay, so its prices is they're quite far away now from this zone here, correct? So it has resisted twice strongly at this level, so that signals a downward move. So that downward move sort of complies, or it is actually quite similar to what we are looking at on the 1 hour chart. Okay, there is a possibility for it to actually come down. So if prices do come down, it might actually bounce up a little bit, try to challenge that 100 EMA here. It comes down to this zone, it might do a little bit of sideway or a bit resisting here a little bit to actually go downwards more and then bounce up, and hopefully it bounces up there and gives it more strength to break out. Okay, so that is on the 1 hour. If we go on to the medium term, okay, you go into the medium term, you see that it is still on a flag down. Okay, there is still a possibility for it to reach downwards. You got the trend moving downwards because of the candles as well. Okay, and this is quite an angle. This whole angle of the flag itself, this channel, is actually quite a strong sort of 4 to 5 o'clock. I would say more of a 5 o'clock type angle. Okay, this whole channel, meaning that this one is giving us more bearish signal. Okay, we go into the long run, we go into the daily chart for the Euro USA. It's very unpredictable, but it's more an uncertain market. You know why? Because if I minimize this on the long term, you see it's a big rise down, correct? But look at all this market going sideways. Now let me just clear off all this horizontal line and the channel and everything else, you can see that it's actually moving on sort of a sideway market. Okay, look at this one. This is a 3 o'clock trend. This is a 3 o'clock sort of market. See all that going up and down? It's actually moving sideways. So what does that mean? That tells us a story about Euro USD. Even though prices is more on the downside for now, at least, okay, it is actually showing us a signaling a sort of uncertain market in the long run. So in the long run, it might have to break upwards or downwards. Okay, so it'll be actually looking into a sideways like that, but break either up or down. Okay, but it all depends, because for me, if I look at it, there is a sort of channel on the upwards. That means that the channel is actually moving towards the up. So it's more likely on the long term for it to break downwards. Okay, so overall trend for the Euro USD, if we're talking about months and months to come, or even by the end of the year, it is still signaling a strongish downtrend for the euro. But as of now, there are some potential on the upside, most probably, but we will be looking at that soon as prices actually progresses. Okay, so that's actually for the euro USD at the moment. Okay, before we go on to the next pair, perhaps anyone who's already trading the euro at the moment, if you guys got questions, we can actually go on to euro USD questions for now. Okay, and then we move on to the next pairs, and then we will reserve more questions at the end of all the trade ideas. Anybody has got any questions about the euro USD at the moment, or guys who are trading the euro USD on the 1 hour or the shorter or longer time frames? Any questions at all? Please type it onto the box if you got a question. This is your question should be connecting to the euro USD, specifically to the euro USD if you are trading it. Okay, or if you got any questions about the euro USD. Okay, let's see. I'll just wait for a couple of seconds. No questions, then we are moving on to gold and a couple of other pairs, and then we go into trade ideas. Okay. All right, so if you guys are happy, let's proceed. As you guys can see, Euro USD now it's actually playing along a you see that there are more strength on the bearishness on the bears. Okay, they're playing around with the prices within these three EMA lines as well. As you can see, it's either resisting or passing through at the moment and that area. But if we go on to 5 minutes, same thing as mentioned before, it has resisted at this area here, so it's actually looking at more look at the prices in the 5 minutes chart. It's actually you can see that prices are moving at the moment. It's on there, it's 1-1. See the prices for euro now, it's 1.1113. Okay, so we are looking at 1.1110 as a signal for it to go lower, because it's 10 pips under the 20 psychological number already. So it's gone under the 20 psychological number, which is based on the last excuse me, 2 digits. So it's signaling more strength for the Euro USD on the downside for now, at least for now, until the sort of short to medium term. Okay, so we will be also looking at, I've got gold at the moment. Let's move on to gold. Okay, gold at the moment, we have got lots of signals in the market. I mean, a lot of research has been done by myself as well as the team here, that we're looking at more pressure on the downside for the gold, but this does not mean that gold is going to be, it's a definite change of trend. It may only be a correction. Okay, because we have got a sort of pattern here for the gold on the daily chart, which is actually a Z sort of pattern. Okay, it's a Z. If I move this one here, give me a second. So I take that one off. Okay, it's a Z sort of pattern. Okay, a Z sort of pattern is usually like this. Okay, this is a bearish Z. sort of pattern. Okay, a bearish Z pattern, white's bearish Z pattern, because the longest move that you can see is actually a bear's market. The bear market have actually ruled this whole move pattern. Okay, but on the long, this is for the long run, it needs, so based on this pattern, it's going to make a sort of move downwards, but within this zone here. Okay, but that does not mean that it will just go all the way. It might be a correction up. Okay, once it reaches this moment here. So this is for the goal, but we are looking at the daily chart. We've not actually looked at what's going on now. Okay, what may be going on now. It's a different story. So what we are looking at now, give me a second. Let me just clear everything here. All right, so we're still looking at potential on the upside for gold, but just not yet because it's signaling more on the downside pressure. But let's go on to a 1 hour chart. Okay, um, this is for gold. Give me a second. Let's look at a 1 hour chart, and let me just move this blue zone away. Give me a second. All right, it's clearer that way. So let's go into the 1 hour chart and let's look at the behaviors of the candles. Okay, for those who have attended the Fibonacci, you know this is a good practice for you. You could see, follow the story of what's going on onto your chart. Okay, let's look at the story that you could see. You could see that it's a downward move here, correct? But let's look at what have actually dominated this whole area, meaning that who's in power. You need to look at who is in power in this move. The ones who are in power here are the bears or the sellers, because you've got longer, bigger, stronger candles on the downside, correct? So that have actually given strength to the market for the bears, for the sellers. Okay, then you have got some correction going upwards now. Okay, but you have got lower highs here. But overall, let's say we are looking at this. Let's apply the three moving averages first. Okay, you apply the moving average of 200, which is exponential moving averages, which is also called the EMA, and then you have got the 100 right there. I'll make it a lighter color for you. You got 100 EMA there. Okay, and then you have got the 50 EMA. All right, now I will make this one really light so you could see there are three. Now the thing about it is that it's signaling on the 1 hour chart that there's a bit of unpredictability or uncertainty in the market. Why? Because it's not actually gone above all the three lines or under all the three lines. That means it's not gone above the three EMAs or under the three EMAs, not yet, because it's still playing around. So there is a bit of a struggle. Okay, the market is in balance at the moment. Okay, because it's in this range, correct? Right, it's in this range roughly. It's playing about here, and it's playing about these three EMA lines here. That means it hasn't broke up or haven't broke down yet. So there is a bit of unpredictability in the market for the gold. It's still waiting for something to happen. Maybe the data releases that impacts the dollar or impacts the other currencies would then move the gold better in the directions that it intend to go. Okay, so let's look at that. That's for gold at the moment. We look at it from a big angle, from a biggish angle. You could see that this whole move is still on the upside. All right, and look at how many times it has actually bounced up. Okay, look, it's bouncing up on the 200 EMA many time from the 200 EMA. Okay, then you have got higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, and then you've got higher highs. Okay, see, right, right. See, if you circle all the lows and the significant highs, you could see that this is actually moving on this kind of flow, and this flow is on the upside, and this is the flow that gold is currently on. But in terms of timing for now, it is still playing along the 3 o'clock angle here because we have got a bit of uncertainty. All right, so if you guys want to practice onto the using the Fibonacci, you could always, let's just do this using the Fibonacci. You can always look at this big move, pull it right up. Okay, look at where it has ended. Let me move this one here. You could see that it almost corrected at the 78.6. Okay, so a rise up, correction down. That signals a bit of potential for it to push up. You could see a lot of support, a lot of resistance, a lot of support area here. Okay, you have got some support here. All right, and you want to always be drawing a support as zone as opposed to just a single line if it comes to support and resistance lines. Okay, you don't want to be drawing just a single line. You want to take into account all this body as well as the wick. So we start off here. You could see so many numerous supports here. So this signals a bit of a strongward trend, but in terms of timing, it is still not above the 3 line. So we want to be patient. We would like to wait. Okay, you can actually take that move here as an A, B, C. There's a smaller A, B, C, D here too. Okay, the most recent A, B, C, D. You can see if you take your A here, you go up to B. You can see that it's 61.8 on the dot. The support here is 61.8. Correct. So let's say if you want to apply a bit of geometric on it, for the goal on the 1 hour chart, all you do is you take that, move it up, okay, right, and you move that one here because you take the same length. Just now we have taken the same length of AB equals CD, correct? All right, so if I combine that line here, it becomes an A, B, C, D. All right, so I have got my A here, correct? And I have my B here, right? Then I've got my C around here, and we do not know how far D would be. Okay, so let me just so that basically gives us an idea that there's a potential A, B, C, D. But the potential of this A, B, C, D could also be a failure. It could also fail once it goes and breaks this 200 EMA and goes further down, and downtrend is stronger. Okay, but we are looking at a potential. If at all it goes above a certain level, then you can still take a buy trade. So when do we actually start trading a buy for the goal for using the 1 hour chart? It's very simple. Once you have got the ABCD pattern, you simply draw from A, you combine to the D. Okay, then you see the center point. There's a center point here. All right, so that is sort of a safer area to look at prices needs to go above 1257.05 above, but in my guess, if it goes above the lines, the 50 and the 100 EMA, it's actually safer. So you have got two choices. Okay, you can actually trade conservatively, or you could just follow where this is the zone. Basically, this is the zone prices needs to go above, so you can target your price take profit level short term here, but prices needs to go above 1259, maybe 1260 and above. Then you can consider a sort of a buy and let it go up. But let's look at more confirmation for the goal. Okay, you need to look at more confirmation of what's going on now by actually going on to the 5 minutes chart as well. Okay, you need to look at what's going on at this moment of time. As you can see, you've got more dominance on the downtrend. So this still gives you a sort of a timing gauge, a timing indicator, meaning that because a downtrend, you're expecting an upward trend just now, correct? With the pattern that we have seen, it could have potentially there. Okay, but when we go onto the 5 minute chart, the timing is not there yet. Why? Because the strength is on the downside. So we have to actually wait and not execute. If you are actually executing your trade right now, what will happen then is that you're looking at your positions going into negative, and you've got to wait and things like that. So always check with your even though you look at a bullish pattern, you look at a potential for a buy, go back to the 5 minute chart and look at what's going on now with the candles. I mean, a lot of people who are trading short-term time frame, they trade using the short-term time frame. But me as a geometric trader, I only use short-term time frame to actually, like 5 minutes or 15 minutes, to actually look at what the candles are doing. You see, candles are doing what the candles are doing at the moment for the gold. They're actually dropping in prices. Okay, so we wouldn't actually be knowing what could actually happen in the short-term time frame if we were just going on to the 1 hour and the daily and not checking on the 5 minute chart. So you see, it's got more room for the downside. There's more strength for the gold to go on the downside before it makes its bounce on the upside. Okay, but of course on the 1 hour or the 4 hour, we have already drawn a potential upward move, correct? But not yet. Even if you're based on the 1 hour chart, it's just not just yet, because you have got a lot of potential for it to go on the downside first, because that's what the candles are doing at the moment, and the uncertainty in the market is not giving you a certainty that it has more room on the upside, because prices are on the sideway trend. Okay, I hope that's clear. Let me see whether I have any more questions. All right, you guys could hear me all okay, yeah? I hope it's all loud and clear for you guys. Okay, so that's on the goal, guys. Okay, and let's look at what's going on to the other um, pairs. Let's just pick um, on the pound at the moment. I'm just going to go on to pound. All right, we'll start fresh with a fresh chart onto the pound, because we have got some movement on the yen as well as the pound, as you can see, more later during the week. Okay, but let's look at whether or not we could see any indication of some patterns for the pound at the moment. Before we set out to go on to the pound, let's look at what's going on in the news out there. Do we actually have any hints that the banks or other strategies or anybody who's actually mentioning anything about the pound? I usually go on to the efxnews.com as well, and a couple of other areas where we can find lots of signals and trade ideas. I'm actually just looking at what they're actually saying, what sort of forecasts are going on with certain pairs. So you can always go on to Trading Central, that is through the Orbex platform as well, or the weekly or daily analysis that we actually provide as well in Orbex. Okay, but I want you to also be able to do the analysis on your own. So we are looking at let's say let's pick one of the news here, the one that has actually come out by a bank, and it was as of yesterday. Okay, yesterday was Sunday on the 13th, but we have got some market signals. Look at what they're actually saying. They're actually giving signals, okay, three signals on shorting that pair, shorting the pound USD, shorting Aussie USD, and all that. So there is more given. If you could actually see, even the title is more on shorts on all this. So there is a bit of a risk off environment. Okay, that people are giving signals about down, down, down sort of trend. Okay, and we may be looking at more, let's say, onto other pairs, other websites as well, and you can actually see we have got more articles like this giving a lot more fear in the market, driving prices and driving a lot of pairs downwards. So what do we do next? We actually go on to the chart. Let's start off with the GBP US dollar, but before that I would like to first apply your 50 100 and 200 EMAs. Okay, I think I've got some questions. Give me a second. The GBP USD 1 hour flag. Let's look at that, Colin, together. Let's see whether we could actually find any sort of 1 hour on the 1 hour a flag or the most probable pattern. Okay, so we'll look at this one together. We've applied the 50, and let's now go on to the 100. Okay, let's see, and then we have got 200. Right, there we go. Brilliant. So let's look at the basis of everything. Let's look at this angle, guys. Okay, let's look at it from a big pictures perspective. Let's look at what's going on here, right? What angle would that be? Does that actually not look like a sort of 1 o'clock angle? I mean, the entire trend. Forget about what's going on here. Okay, let's look at this whole angle. Look at this whole channel. You know, whole channel. Where does it actually point out to? Okay, let me just okay, erase all drawing. We'll look at patterns. Let's give me a second. Let me just go into there. Let's use a channel. That's a channel tool that you could actually use. You can always go on like that. Okay, right. Let's see the clock angle itself. You know, like as though you're looking at your watch. What angle is that trading to? You could see that that's actually quite strong on the upside for GBP US dollar. Okay, the other thing as well is that if I make it slightly bigger like that, to me, I could see a sort of cup pattern there as well. Okay, that's a cup pattern. All right, usually along here, let me just okay, I'll make that smaller first. Give me a second. And let's say if that were to be a sort of cup pattern, okay, right? Because that's where you have got loads of sideway pattern, right? So this sideway pattern will be the mouth of the cup. And usually, you know, it will make a correction. This goes up, come back down, okay? Maybe come back down there and make a bigger rise. If this were to be a successful cup pattern, you've got more room upwards. But that is just at a glance of what may be going on, okay? But we want to actually look at it deeper, right? Let's zoom in, okay? Change that to a candlestick. So you can see it is indeed trading along this channel. But look at what prices are doing at the moment. There's got some strength on the downside, correct? You have got some up strength, but you've got the high low here, then you've got higher lows, and then you have got this one here coming downward. So we would like to wait and look at what's going on within the channel. As you can actually see, if this were to be a downtrend move, or let's say the bears are actually dominating, you're looking at the price itself. Price action is showing us something else, showing us that 1.4330. Okay, now 30, if you've got 10 pips down, is 20 psychological numbers. If at all this were to, you know, signal more strength on the downside, it would need, based on price action, to go under the 20 psychological level. As it shows us now, it's still not yet, hasn't actually done that, hasn't actually gone under the 20 psychological number, because the number now is 30, 1.4330. Okay, and that is exactly giving us an idea that there may be a bit of resistance as well here, because we have got not resistance but support. Why? Because it's resisting going downwards due to the 50 moving average that you can see here, and based on the price as well as that 50 EMA, gives us an indication that prices could play about here and start bouncing off. If it does actually bounce off, then you are looking at a low here, a higher low, and somewhat here another a higher low. So that gives us a flow on the upside. Okay, so that is basically a probable scenario for the GBP US dollar. But as of now, if you're looking at now move, that's actually still on the downside. But this overall is got a upward sort of strength or strength to the upside. Okay, so if we zoom out, you can then see clock angle wise. If we go on to the medium term, that's a very strongish upward. But again, you need to put that into a channel. And once you put that into a channel, that's why it's actually on the downside, but maybe perhaps it's on the downside and trying to play around that area there and go back up. But how long would it actually do that? Okay, we don't know that. So, oops. And then the other thing to answer the question, Colin's question earlier on, if we actually zoom out a little bit. Yes, you can take that as pole there, some pole there. But if we zoom, if you go on to the 1 hour, it's clearer that way. And yes, there is a chance for it to be pole there. Okay, a flag, sorry, flag here. Okay, right, based on based on that pole there. Okay, as you can see earlier on, what happened, you've got another flag pattern here, correct? Okay, you got a flag pattern here, right? All right, then it rised up. Okay, it went up all the way, right? Okay, and let's see whether we've got more. We've got some here as well, but let's focus on these two here. As you can see, we have got flag here, pole here, and flag here, right? So that is playing about here. So we don't know what it's going to be doing, perhaps up, perhaps down, and even more, but then we're waiting for it to rise upwards. Okay, so that is basically what's going on with the GBP USD on the 1 hour chart. Okay, on the 1 hour chart, that's what's going on. Now we have got prices as of now, because it's live market, trying to test that area there. So let's see what's going on, because we have got 1.4322, right? 22. So 22 is only 2 pips away from the 20 psychological number. If at all we have got more strength for the bears to go down more, it has to actually go under the 20 psychological number, like 4310. Then we could say, aha, there are more strength on the downside. But we never know what will happen now here, because we're looking at a 1 hour chart, and this candle here is actually started at 3 o'clock. So we have got, now it's 3:48 my time. We've got another 12 minutes to go for this candle to play. So we're looking at the possibility, because even if it goes slightly lower, you could still make that a flag, because it's within the channel. Okay, so we're just looking at price action at the moment. There is a potential, of course, for it to, you know, correct itself. As you can see, it's already happening, and hopefully the next candle goes up that way and then a rise. Okay, so that rise, usually it's almost the same sort of length as that pole here. Okay, so rise up. So you're measuring from this point right up. So that length and that length is almost the same. Okay, if you combine it, it becomes a geometric square shape. Okay, like that. There you go. That's the center point. All right, so let me just erase all that. So that's basically what's going on. Now, to practice your Fibonacci, from those who have actually attended all the other FX series of Orbex, you can then look into practicing your Fibonacci tool on your demo account, your Orbex demo account. So you've got your Fibonacci tool here, and let's say we're taking that base around here. Okay, this way roughly the support started, right? So we go onto there. You can see that that's an area there, 61.8. Okay, if you stretch that downwards here, it's still 61.8 around here. Okay, so if we take that away, if at all it is at 61.8, then it may have a potential to reach the 1618 area. Okay, right? So that is a forecast of where it could potentially go to. Potentially, it's a probability game. Okay, so we have got a channel here, right? Currently, that's what's going on in terms of price action for the GBP USD. So if we were to draw the pole right there and take that from the breakout point here, you could see that that length, okay, similar more or less to that length. You could see that the target touches exactly onto the previously drawn projected line. That's a 1.618 projection, okay, or extension level. All right, after you have pulled that. So in other words, we have got a potential A, A from here, B here, correct? C here, and this is what we're projecting or forecasting, D. Okay, so from a flag pattern, if we ignore the flag part, it's an ABCD again. So hence the reason most of the geometric pattern, the base or the core always starts with an ABCD sort of pattern. It may not be a clear-cut ABCD pattern, but it sort of corrects itself at C and then progresses from there. Okay, usually that's how it works. That's how it shows in the market. So we have got a flag here as well, as I've drawn earlier on. Now we've got a flag here as well. Okay, so usually what happens is that it's very interesting, this one. Usually what happens is that you have got, let me choose a part to draw. You have got a cup pattern. Let me just, all right. Okay, all right. You have got, let's say you have got a flag and pole pattern, right? Okay, right. Flag and pole pattern, flag and pole pattern, flag and pole pattern, right? Then you have got to move like this, and similarly, this goes up like that, right? Now, this is where it usually makes out that cup sort of pattern, right? So this is what's going on at the moment with GBP USD. Okay, it's the right side of the cup. It's usually made up of many pole and flag pattern that's going up to push prices higher. Okay, and then once it reaches the mouth area, then it'll make a bit of a correction and then upwards, makes the handle. Okay, so I'll just draw that again. Let me just do that once more. So in a cup and handle pattern, we have got, it moves following that sort of cup. Okay, anything could have gone on here, for example, a lot of disturbances and then downwards. Okay, and then similarly a lot of disturbances here, then up, then candle flag, flag pole goes up, right? Then what will happen usually is it'll make a sort of downward pattern. That pattern is usually the handle of the cup, and it usually happens at the mouth area here. Okay, why here? Because this is where you get all the choppy market here, right? So what will happen next is that it will try to break out this pattern. Okay, all right, goes up. Okay, this is your correction area. Okay, then it'll come back here and then up it goes. Okay, so that's roughly the type of pattern that have actually gone on for gold as well, and silver is similarly doing that pattern as well. Okay, so that is basically what's going on for pound versus the dollar. But if we look into, this is just for your education on patterns. Okay, as you can see, If I would show you now on the daily chart for the silver, could you spot the sort of cup pattern or cup and handle pattern on the silver on the daily chart? Let me draw that out for you, okay? So we're looking at an area here at the moment, okay? That's a handle here. So it's going upwards, okay? Waiting to break out at the mouth area here, okay? So that is your cup and handle pattern. So what will happen if it does break out that area here? It might reverse down a little bit to the original and potentially rise up from there. Okay, so that's for silver on the daily chart. I think I've got some question coming through. Okay. Possibly, Colin, yes, but the shorter time frame pattern would be based on the flag and pole pattern on the lower time frame, because the lower time frame, like on a 5 minutes chart or the 1 hour chart, usually um, would actually look into shorter time frame patterns. That is actually the either an M small w type pattern, or the ABCD pattern, or the flag and pole pattern. So these patterns, the smaller patterns, will make out all these patterns inside the bigger picture of the cup and handle pattern. Okay, so the cup and handle pattern, as you can see here, inside you will have various other smaller patterns in this area, but not on the daily chart. It's usually on to the 1 hour chart, okay, or smaller. As you can see, you have got to look at what's going on here on the 1 hour chart. You've got A, B, C, D, or is it an A, B, C, D pattern, or maybe starting from this angle here? Okay, you would need to look at what sort of pattern. Like this one here, for example, we have got a potential flag, oops, and pole pattern here, right? Then you have got a downward channel, correct? Now it's breaking up and it's coming back to almost this angle where it broke out. So hopefully, looking at the price as well, it has a potential to go upwards. Okay, let us just erase all the drawing. So we are looking at, hence the reason you would need to actually check the patterns or look at the bigger picture and then confirm or coincide what you see with the shorter time frame. Okay, especially the 1 hour chart or the five minutes, and then work yourself out. Okay, because you're just confirming what have actually made that bigger pattern. Okay, usually inside the bigger pattern you have got smaller patterns working their way. Okay, got various other patterns that make that way, but again, you're looking at the Fibonacci tool that are available on the Allbacks platform, and you're actually wanting to confirm with the Fibonacci tool what's exactly going on. Are they actually high risk or lower risk with high probability ratios at play? Okay, so let's look at it. Okay, most welcome, Colin. Let's see. Right, so that's basically done for the silver that we can actually see. But as we can see, there's a lot of downside move still playing along, on the handle area. But at least if you go into the daily chart, you're able to see that you've got the handle area there. It's still waiting for breakout. It hasn't broken out yet, so the timing for the entry on the buy side is still on a waiting list. You are still queuing up for it, because they're still playing about the sideways trend and the downward trend to make out the handle there. Okay, going on to the silver. So with timing wise, it's not really the right time. As you can see, more strength on the downside here as well. So it's not confirmed to the uptrend that we're looking at. Okay, as what we could see. So if we're going on to the 30 minutes chart as well on a lower time frame, we could see more dominance, as you can see. Why? Because you got stronger candles on the downside dominating the whole scenario as of now. Why did I say now? Because we're looking at shorter time frame. Shorter time frame will give you a shorter view. Okay, longer time frame giving you a longer, bigger picture view. All right, so you want to always come back to the shorter time frame to look at what's going on now to confirm what you've actually seen on the longer time frames. Okay, as you can see, look at how much strength on the downside silver has, even on the 30 minutes chart. And if we go on to the 5 minutes chart, you could see more strength on the downside. So does that actually confirm, giving us a bit more signal that it's not yet time on the burst of the silver on the upside? It is still favoring the downside move. Could it be a correction or not? We don't know that, and we need to look at from time to time to look at whether there are new patterns that are signal. Okay, you can see you got lows here, and then you got higher lows. So still that has not breached downwards, has not actually gone further down to actually beat that low. So still you've got some space, and it's actually resisted very close to the 50 and the 100 moving average here. This is your 100 moving average. Okay. All right, so let's look at one of the chart that concerns the Canadian dollar, because we have got some more news at the end of the week on Canada, US dollar. So let's combine something like the GBP versus the Canadian dollar or something like that, because we have got both markets at play for this week. Okay, so just so that it gives you a bit of a practice to look at how we measure the strength of these two pairs that are expected to give out more moves for the week. You see how choppy that is. You see how prices are moving at the moment. Just at a glance, if I were to do that, always zoom out first if you can. Okay, so you get a bit of a picture, right? I've got a big move like that. Okay, a big move like this for the GBP versus the Canadian dollar. But then I've got a sideways move here. Okay, but it is favoring the upside because I have got this higher lows here. Okay, so that gives me a bit of a triangle pattern as well. There's a likelihood of it going up, coming back down to this point, and then rise up. This is just at a glance. Okay, so if I were to erase all drawing and not give it too much of a guess, okay, but to actually look at it carefully in terms of price, okay, 19042, we have got the flow. What would the flow be? The flow of the current move at the moment would be, you start with a low here, right? You've got a very significant low here. That means you've got support. This support is really strong because there's a lot of candles here, and then this was a support that pushed up price really high. Okay, then you've got another one here, then you've got some more, a lot of support here too. So what is the flow at the moment? What is the flow? The flow is on the upside, okay, on the 1 hour chart for the GBP. Okay, it's giving you strength. So that should actually also hint you more move on the upside for the GBP versus the dollar too. Okay, because it is what's going on at the moment. Look at the strength of the candles. Look at what's going on at the moment. Look at what's going on here. Okay, candle by candle, right? And if I zoom out, you could see there are more strength there too. We've got a support zone around here as well. Okay, as you can see, why? Because you've got lots of candles supporting here, up, down, and now up again. So prices couldn't manage to come down under this line here, okay, because there's so many supports, too many support, giving you a hint on the upside. So that means who is in control? The bulls or the buyers are in control. But then you have got sellers pushing down price here, correct? You've got some sellers pushing down price here. That's how price went down here, correct? So this is another area that price has to go up first, past this area. It might come down and then up. Okay, so this is what's going on now. All right, now what's going on now based on the 5 minutes chart? More strength on the upside. Okay, this is where you could practice again your Fibonacci. All right, you could see the angle itself. We've not even applied the moving average, but if I were to apply 200 moving averages, 200 moving average, sorry, and then the 50, sorry, the 100 first. Okay, then you have got your 50 moving average as well. Okay, you could see that it's way above, so that signals a bit of an uptrend. Let's practice a bit of our Fibonacci. Okay, now if I were to have my A here, B here, C here, and we don't know where D is, correct? All right, we have sort of come to the conclusion there is a potential ABCD pattern on the upside, predicting or forecasting D to be on the upside. Let's do that now and grab your Fibonacci tool. Okay, go from A right up to B, and you're looking at C close in between 50 to 61.8. Okay, so your extension based on the menu that I've given you guys, most of you guys, is that the 50 would reach potentially the 200, but the 61.8 could potentially reach here. Okay, as you can see, prices very close to the 161.8, but it didn't actually really go there. Right, so we take that off. Okay, and we take this line here and make that equal to this line. As you can see, this is the next area. So it's not really, we're looking at more downside move at the moment, but it's hinting more on the upside for the GBP CAD, because if we move on to the 1 hour, as I've mentioned earlier on, it needs to give us a hint that it would go further up, most probably only if it's actually crossed this borderline, right? Because earlier on when we looked at it, there's resistance here, and it needs to go further up. Okay, so let's look at something else here. There's another pattern that's potentially a potential to actually happen here, is that we've got a big upward move, and we've got a downward move here. Okay, got a downward move. It could potentially be a pattern down and then a move upwards. Okay, but apart from that pattern, the flag and pole pattern, we've also got something. See that move down here? All right, then we've got corrective ABCD move. So if you've got an ABCD move, let's say A to B, okay, then all right, something like this, yeah, okay. Let's adjust that low here. Okay, so that could also be a potential. If we pull that last move down here, could be a W pattern here. Okay, and usually around there will signal a downward move. So there may be still some move on the upside for the GBP CAD. Okay, we'll take that one away. Okay, so I'll erase that. Oh, take that away. Okay, and it's still on a sideway for all these lines, but most candles are above all these lines. If we go into the 4 hour chart, Okay. On the medium term, its prices, as you can see, it's trying to go above and find support. We have got some support here, some support here. So what it's telling us is that we have got support starting from this lower part. Then you've got many lower highs, and then it corrects itself, but still acts as a lower high here and a lower high here. So this signals a bit of strength on the upside. Okay, but there's a bit of a challenge because we have got the 50 and the 100 EMA and the 50 EMA here. Okay, prices is playing in within this range at the moment. It needs to go above. Okay, once it goes above that line, if it does go up more, it will make a bit of resistance close to the 200 EMA. So that's another area. Okay, that is for the GBP CAD. Now, some have actually asked me earlier on via email to actually look into the USD versus the yen too. So we're going on to the USD versus the yen. If you guys have got no question on this GBP CAD that I've just shown you, we'll just quickly move on to the USD JPY. Similarly, I'm going to get rid of the grids, and as you can see, we have got, based on the calendar itself, okay, we have got some yen expected tomorrow. Huge news about yen. We've also got Bank of Japan speech on Thursday, okay, this week, okay, but that's right, that's after Tuesday's event. Now, Tuesday's data releases, sorry, you have got the bank interest rate decision that is highly impactful. Okay, then you've got the monetary policy statement, which all goes hand in hand with the interest rate decision. Then you've got the press conference, and then to add up all the spices for that event, we then have Koruda speaking on Thursday. So there's some impact on that. Okay, of course we've got the USD as well on the same day, and then it's on Wednesday as well. We've got some dollar, how do you call that, data releases. So that may actually create quite an impact for the USD JPY. Okay, as you can see, just as a glance, you have got prices uncertain. This is uncertain market. It's waiting to break up or waiting to break low. Okay, so because you have seen a big move, there is a big potential that you will have moves again based on a technical perspective. You will have, because it has corrected itself, it's gathered all the orders here. There's a bit of uncertainty going on in the market. Okay, so let me erase the drawings first, go on to normal. Okay, Colin, I've got a question. Colin's question is GAB, CAD, why keen for a rise and not consider a large pole and the present section representing a flag? Sure. It's due to the trend, actually. If you're looking into trend-wise, we're looking at the angle of the trend and things like that. We have got a pole. If we can always go back to GBP CAD. If we were to go on to 1 hour chart, make it minimize it, we have got, as you can see, we want to look at the order flow. The order flow, meaning that how did the candles and the order itself behaved. Okay, as you can see, you have got here, here. You can see the order flow is on the upside because you've got higher lows. You've got a low here, and then you got a low here, and it's going upwards like a pair of stairs. Okay, going on the upwards, and this is the most recent move here that we're talking about. Okay, so we have got a hint that it may be more onto the upside at the moment because of the order flow first, and secondly, we're looking at the behavior of the candles itself. If you're talking about the pole and flag, okay, you've got the pole. You could also consider a pole here. Okay, oops, sorry, a pole here, and look at the order flow downwards. If that is the case, then it might correct and then still on the upside. And that is the most recent sort of pattern that we can actually see based on GBP CAD on the 1 hour chart. Okay, so I erase all drawing and I can see that we have loads. Need to be careful with loads and loads of resistance. Okay, so we need to wait till it goes above this resistance area here. Okay, if it does, then it signals upwards trend. As you can see, you've got various other reasons to think of it as an upward move as opposed to a downward. Okay, because we have got loads of channel upwards. Okay, you can see that it's on the upward side, right? You can see that's another channel here as well. You could draw a channel from here as well. So it's a lot of move on the upside, but it's finding resistance in this area. Okay, so in terms of timing, not yet. We need to wait. We need to wait, but at as what we could see, you could see most prices have actually. This part is an important move that the GBP has made. It has found support onto the 100 EMA and it's found support onto the 3 EMAs and then make a rise upwards. So the next move is we need to look at whether or not it could go beyond this move. If it does go beyond, it might correct a little bit and then up it goes. Okay, so hopefully that happens, but it's a matter of time, meaning that we need to wait and see what exactly could happen. Okay, because we're not supposed to just base on that one pattern and then look at it. We need to actually go back as well to your how do you call that, shorter time frame to look at what possibility would there be. Okay, on the daily chart, as you can see, long term on the downside, but we're looking at what progresses from short term now right up to medium and then long term. Okay, all right, so that's basically it for the GBP. We are going back. Hope that's clear, Colin. You can always ask again, not a problem. We'll go back to USD JPY, but before anything else, probably best to apply the 50. The 50, 100, 200 is usually my first steps before I do anything, just so that I get a bit of an indicator in terms of what the prices are actually doing, you know, in relation to these three lines, EMA lines, you know, it makes it a visually clearer picture for me, a clearer picture. Okay, so let me explain that. Right, so here itself, I could tell you that it's on a sideway. There's a bit of uncertainty at the moment, maybe awaiting a breakout. Okay, but let's say we zoom in. Okay, let's say I look at this and you could see very clearly that there's lots of support here. Okay, the bulls are trying to push the prices upwards. Okay, the flow is on the upside, right? In terms of price, 113.68. It has gone beyond the 50. Okay, it's targeting the 70 and the 80. If it goes above 80, meaning 113.80, then there's more chances for it to go even further up. Okay, before that, let's erase all that. So there is an up sort of trend. What if we pull the Fibonacci? Let's see what's going on. Okay. Okay. Now let me pull a Fibonacci from this angle here, right to the very top. Okay. Now this is an upward move. If you're pulling an upward move, you're actually answering the questions of where could the other next upward move start from. That is why you're pulling from here to here. If you're pulling an uptrend move, okay, if you're pulling from point A to point B, your Fibonacci, okay, that means you want to know when else can the market go up again, mirroring this move. Okay, as simple as that. So this horizontal line that you see here are actually telling you where price could go up. Okay, bounce up bounce up, bounce up. Okay, this is what it means when you pull your Fibonacci that way. All right, so now I am doing the same thing because I would like to know if I pull my Fibonacci from here down to up, meaning where else on this line it will show us on which line we could have loads of support. There's a lot of support here. There's a lot of support here. There's a lot of support here. And now this is the next one here. Okay, for it to go upwards. But it has started around this line here down, but from here onwards it has actually picked up. So there is an indication for the US dollar especially to rise up a bit more, but we want to look at the possibility. Now, what if we have got lots of hints that it's actually on the upside? We can take this as my A point, B point, and my C could be here, right? So if I do that just roughly, I've got my A here, let's say, then your B here, then I've got C here, so I'm predicting D somewhere there. All right, so we'll do a bit of analysis using the, oops, I've erased the wrong tool, but it's okay. I'm putting my AB equals CD. Okay, if you're bored to draw the lines, you can always do that. Okay, take that away. Okay, if my AB equals CD, if it were to be upwards, AB equals CD, right there. Okay, this is my AB, right? So I'm pulling my A to B to look at where my C has landed. It's at 61.8, correct? So if C is at 61.8, there's a high potential or probability for the D to actually be projected based on the 161.8 area. So this is another potential for where price could go if, this is a big if at all prices were meant to actually persist higher. Okay, but of course we've not actually checked on the 4-hour chart. We look at a lot of play at the moment. It hasn't actually gone above the 3 lines. Okay, prices has not gone above 3 lines. There's still risk there. It might actually just bounce back down. Hence the reason we want to actually really check on longer time frame. On the longer term, it looks like there's potential for it to go further down. Why? Because it's actually quite far away, prices from the 3 EMA. If we go on to the 5 minutes chart, what's going on with the 5 minutes chart? More strength on the upside. So yes, in that way, there are potential for it to actually go further up because we have got stronger trend on the upside based on the short-term time frame. We go on to the 30 minutes chart. It's still bouncing off there, and more strength on the upside based on the 30 minutes chart, 1-hour chart more on the upside. So based on the USD JPY, we have got both are actually projected to have strength this week on the upside, both the dollar and the Japanese yen. But if you put them together, the one that looks to be slightly stronger or stronger in theory would actually be the US dollar. Okay, so that's basically what's going on. You've got a very sort of clear A, B, C, D potential. We've got A here, B, and then C, and then D again. Okay, so we have got a couple of things that you can actually test out and see which one works best. But again, I would like to emphasize you would need to check, reconfirm the strength of the trend first before you do anything else. Okay, in order for you to get a better idea on the pattern. Right, so where are we with oil at the moment? We have got a gap there, okay? Weekend gap. Now the market is trying to close that gap. Okay, you have got the gap here. Okay, now market is trying to close it up. You see, so that's what's going on with the oil at the moment. But overall, since last week, as you know, we've got a lot of reports talking about how oil prices have actually recovered trying to climb up, and it indeed has actually climbed up in prices. Okay, so if I go on to the daily chart, we have got here earlier on, earlier during the time, let's say since last year in May itself, after it's actually made the uncertain move here, 3 o'clock angle, and then it went downwards. Okay, for those who want to practice your Fibonacci, you could pull your Fibonacci from here, from A to B. Okay, your C ended at 50%. Okay, so based on Fibonacci, if C landed at 50%, there's a probability for the D to be projected at 2.00% extension. That means you pull from here and there, and you're looking at 200 as a potential of 200 here. It was close but didn't really touch. But if you were to apply AB equals CD, right? That was right on the dot actually. See how the geometry actually worked wonders even with oil, because we have got a similar length from the price that was projected last year, 2015. We've got the downward move. It was equal in length with what has actually happened now. Okay, so if we had drawn a geometric pattern then or earlier, then we would combine that pattern there to that pattern there. Okay, and draw all that, and that becomes a perfect geometric pattern there. Okay, you see that area here where it crosses. If you put a horizontal line right at the middle, this is where we could sell safely. This could potentially be a safer selling zone probability, based on probability wise. Okay, so this would be an area that, and you're taking all the way down. That's quite a lot of move actually. Okay, based on that pattern alone. That's for oil. So now it's making a move on the upside. All right, now on the upside we have got, I'm just going to take that off. Right, we're looking at the daily chart. Okay, we have got a move that went up, okay, down, and then now on this angle is actually moving upwards. This could potentially be a Z-like pattern for oil. Okay, I take that move from the front and I go up here. Okay, now if this has actually turned out to be a successful Z pattern, then that would actually signal a downward move around there, the end. But we need to confirm whether this is actually a 50% retracement area. Okay, how do we do that? We do it like this. Erase all that. We are taking this tool, we are pulling from here right down here, and we're aiming at 50%. Now usually it's close to 50% that it'll start to actually come downwards. Okay, so if it does actually start coming downwards, then if it is based on the Z sort of pattern, okay, let's adjust that. Then then it would be coming downwards to another 50% as the target. Okay, so let's use this one instead, the red line, and here we go. Okay, so if at all it's not on the downside and not progressing further down based on this pattern, that would signal the pattern to have failed, and that also would signal that oil prices would actually be going up further. Okay, now once you've got the Z pattern, if you combined it combine all the lines or attach all lines, you would get a perfect geometric pattern as well. Okay, so that's basically it. All right, so that's for oil at the moment. We have got, let's look into Euro GBP. We've got some move there. It's actually looking at what's going on now. We are looking at some pickup of support on the upside. We have got a clear enough pull and a downward move. So if we draw a channel from there, okay, this is for the Euro JPY, Euro GBP, yeah, which was covered earlier as well. Okay, so that's your downward move for the Euro GBP. Okay, so again, more for those who have actually missed earlier on, more moves that are expected, but we're awaiting a breakout basically from this channel itself, because there's a pattern here. We've got a pull and then a flag downwards, so it would actually be breaking more on the upside because of the pattern that we can see. If we use a Fibonacci, we pull this one right up, you're looking at support the 50% area. Okay, so that could be projected as a ABCD pattern as well if you want. Alright guys, so at this moment of time I would like to open questions. If there are any questions before wrapping up, this would be the best time for you guys to ask on your current trades, on anything pertaining to your trades with Forex, with Orbex, and with instruments that we have. So if you've got any questions, feel free to ask, type it onto the box before we wrap up today's live analysis. Thank you. Any questions at all, guys? Any pairs that you're looking at the moment? All right. Any questions, Osama, with your current trade? Mr. Tariq as well. Mr. Motu, perhaps. Any question? Okay. We have got questions. Okay. Thank you, Colin. Okay. Yes, you have got AUDJPY, says Colin. Okay, that's a nice pair to look at, actually. AUDJPY. Now, AUDJPY is also the favorite pair for carry traders. Carry traders are traders who likes to combine two pairs, one with a very low interest rate and one with a very high interest rate. So the one that is very high in interest rate is the highest at the moment is your Australian dollar. The one with the lowest one is the one is JPY. Okay, so you combine the two and you carry trade them. So when you carry trade them, meaning that you want to post a buy sort of order, and you would actually be earning interest as well from a carry trade. Okay, so that's a favorite of the carry traders, we call them. So let's go on to AUDJPY. Right, I have got AUDJPY here. All right, same thing that I do always is to get rid of the grid and to look into the angles of what's going on at the moment. We have got some downward strength at the moment on the 1 hour chart. Let's see. Before that, let's go on to moving averages, 200, 100. Timba@gmail.com. Yes, you have received an email from me before. Okay. Okay, I will send you now. Thank you, Morris. And the 200. Okay. And the 50, sorry. Okay. Right, so you've got three lines there. You could see that we've got some support, potentially another support area, but we don't know that until we look into the price action as well. You've got 85.31 at the moment. Prices, if expected to actually go further down, would need to go under 20. That means 85.20. Then it would actually signal more downside pressure. Okay, At the moment, we are looking at a lot of support support at this area. Is not no prices since this angle here have actually gone under the 200 EMA, so it's holding strong for the 200 EMA, meaning it's giving a lot of pressure for it to actually come downwards, or prices to actually fall entirely. So we are looking at more strength there, but let us go on to the medium term. Is also signaling more on the upside. Okay, we have got this area of support here, and we're looking at, let's see. All right, it's quite interesting, this one here. We are looking at more strength on the Australian dollar on the upside in the medium term, and we're looking at picking up of strength for the long term. So let's look at what's going on the 5 minutes chart. The 5 minutes chart, we have got, now if I look at it at a glance, we're looking at a potential Z-like pattern. Okay, it may actually signal a downward trend. Let's pull this whole trend upwards. It hasn't actually reached the 50, okay, but this one here, if I pull this one here and I double click that, that's too far downwards, so that shouldn't be a Z-like pattern there. Okay, but we have got selling pressure. It's all under all three lines. Okay, so if I pull a Fibonacci to look for an ABCD type pattern, I see that have actually landed on the spot of 38.2, roughly on the spot. Okay, so if I take AB equals CD, projecting it downwards for the shortest term, if the downtrend were to persist, we are looking at a potential downward move to 84.894. Okay, but if 892, sorry. So if we have the AB equals CD there like that, we're looking at it on the dot there. Okay, but 38.2 on the C means that the projected downward move could potentially be at 2.24 or 261.8. So we have got two other zones, possible zones, okay, for it to reach in terms of your potential take profit zone. Okay, so we are looking at that area for it to rise downwards to, if at all the downtrend persists. At this point, it does look like we got more room for it to move downwards too. Okay, there you go. All right, so then that is for the Aud Jpy, but let's move on now to the 1 hour chart. We could see that if at all that move happens on the downward, it is still a possibility for it to make a correction close to the 200, close to the 100 EMA. So yes, it does look like a potential downward move for the Aud Jpy, a probable move downwards before bouncing up again upwards. Okay, and then we look into the hourly 4. On the long run, Aud Jpy still would signal an upward move, even after the corrective move that we have seen based on the 5 minutes, 1 hour, and the 4 hour. Okay, the 1 hour and the 5 minutes. Sorry, and on the daily, it still is going to be looking a little tricky on the longer term. But if we go back to 5 minutes, it's sort of a clearer move on the downside for the Australian dollar. That means the Japanese yen is strengthening or is stronger at the moment compared to the Australian dollar. Okay, and then we move on to the 1 hour. It is still signaling a potential for it to go under the 50 moving average, but then not really under the 100 moving average. So there's still room for it to go downwards based on shorter time frame. So on the short term, You have got some potential move on the downside based on what we can see in terms of the patterns that we can see technically as well. But then we don't really know in terms of data releases whether or not it will push prices further down if you've got negative numbers. If not, then you're looking at a corrective number, perhaps a correction at this area here for the Australian dollar to go upwards. But as of now, as you can see, it's favoring the downside move. Okay, more like a corrective move as opposed to a change of trend. Okay, if based on the 5 minutes chart, we have got quite a big M pattern as well. So if we take it from here, maybe we've got this corrective at 38.2, meaning I can easily pull a line from here right up there. Okay, and then from here right up there, and that gives me an M pattern. So an M pattern usually signals, let's say like this, yeah, or usually if it finishes around there, it signals an upward move. Okay, that is sort of what's might take place as we can see on the 5 minutes chart. All right, so that's basically it for the AUD JPY. On the shortest term, as I can see, because the patterns not really clear on the longer term, so only from 5 minutes to about 1 hour or slightly above 1 hour, that we can actually look into a sort of a downward move for the AUD JPY. Anything above that, as of now, is a little bit risky because the pattern's not clear. Not only that, we've got prices as well to be factored in, and it's not really clear for the prices. Okay, even at this stage, prices have not gone under the 20. So if it does, then that would signal a bigger possibility for it to reach this level and then make a move upwards if the bulls have taken over at the time when it reaches here. Okay, well, we might hear maybe for now we would actually look into more prices coming down, but maybe usually what happens, you got news release and stuff like that, when it's approaching this zone, you might just push it up. Okay, and news this week, Colin, yes, you're right, we have got the data release as well, but let's check. We have got, yeah, I've got loads of things going on, but it's mainly with the JPY that we're looking at for your Australian dollar versus JPY. We've got the Australian dollar, you're right, that is starting on Tuesday, but we are looking at more impact based on the JPY to actually factor the move for the Australian dollar. We've got meetings only on the AUD, but we have got more heavy weighted data awaiting the JPY, especially if you want to combine JPY and AUD, because we've got the Bank of Japan Kuroda's speech usually sort of polishes the trend a bit more. After these three releases, that would actually really impact the market more, but then he'll sort of push it even further. So that's why we've got more moves sometimes. When you see data releases where you see the speech of the president of the bank, or the main chairman of the bank, or the governor of the bank speaking later on, let's say, after all the data releases, then you're always looking at bigger moves expected. And it's funny enough because sometimes you look at a potential flag and pole pattern delivering. That means the first couple of news would actually be the big move that makes out the pole of the flag, and then before the speech comes out, then you get a downward trend or something like that, yeah, like the flag part, and then boom, it goes again above. So this is what I'm expecting as well for the euro, as well, because we're looking at Wednesday and Thursday. We have got the not only the consumer price index, but you got the policies ECB meeting again, which is on Wednesday, March 16. So that could actually, before that data releases, we're looking at the flag. you see. So hopefully just before Wednesday or on Wednesday itself, we're looking at again a bigger move on the policy that is coming out on Wednesday, the 16th of March, because overall it's not really positive. It's just that the amount of money flow based on debt, really. I mean, they have increased their stimulus and all that. Increasing stimulus just means that they're going to be going into debt more. They're going to print more money. Okay, the printing of money. Uh, is actually printing of currency, because currency and money, they're actually not the same. Okay, currency is the paper money that you see. Money is the one that has actually more value, usually money that are pegged with a goal or has a guarantee behind it and not just pieces of paper. It's usually called money. But in this modern world, we are confused, basically, or we are made to be confused by the difference between money and currency. So what we have is currencies in paper form. So the paper form money is printed and printed, got stimulus and all that. It does not mean that the eurozone is improving. Actually, it means that the eurozone is doing really, really badly, because you've got lots of money needed to be printed, and they're putting more people into debt, more countries into debt as well. Okay, so that's what it really means. So we're looking at this 80 billion plus, what do you call that, decision for stimulus, and then that is basically what's moving market in the upside. And 80 billion is a huge move. So no way it's actually finished that move upwards. So it's still on thinking mode, going downwards on the channel or the flag pattern, and I would expect it to go up further. Okay, for the euro. Right. Yes, correct. And the JPY to Colin, you are absolutely right. Let's see. We've got a JPY at the start of Tuesday. Yes. They are big news as well, you see, because we've got the press conference and all that coming after the interest rate and the monetary policy statement. So this monetary policy statement, to make it to keep it simple, what they will start is to announce the interest rate made by the bank, and then they're going to put it on paper like an agreement. So that is why they have the monetary policy statement. So put it all in black and white, as they call it. Okay, so that sort of seals the deal, and then they want to, then after they've actually sealed the deal for for it to be evident on paper, black and white, then you will have the press conference, okay, to announce it to the public of what has been decided and what has been written on the statement or onto that legal document. Okay, then what will happen then? Thursday gives the market, they give the market to rest a little bit. Then the governor comes out. He wouldn't come out on that day itself, maybe too much on his plate. So he'll come out on Thursday itself to give a bit of a polishing statement, to see what the crowd, how the crowd reacts to, and then he'll polish it up a bit, say a few couple of things to calm the market down. Maybe he'll just come up with some, statement saying that everything is under control as usual. But we're looking at the negative interest rate, or NIRP, by the Japanese government has actually been more negative than positive. So a lot of talk about the decision to actually apply the negative interest rate has actually been a sort of failure, So of course the bank governor would need to come up on that day to convince people again, to justify that his decisions were all right and things like that. Okay, so it's all a play of politics, geopolitics, and many other things. All right, guys, I think it has actually gone more than expected in terms of our time today. I think I would need to wrap up the session at the moment, but of course, if you guys got any more questions, feel free. If not, then we will actually catch each other again in the upcoming live session next. I think just to let you guys know, I would be changing the Monday session to Tuesdays instead. So your live sessions will be on, let me think. No, I think I will confirm that again. I think it is still going to be it's still going to be a Monday, if I'm not mistaken. But let me confirm. You'll be sent an email anyway to notify if there are changes. Okay? Because I'm still in the middle of deciding whether to have the live sessions on Tuesdays or Mondays due to the upcoming series. There's a new series coming up, so you guys are well aware of it. I guess the mentorship program will be a very interesting program for those who have not signed up. You can always go onto our site on the blog section or on Facebook itself to register for your certification program for the mentorship. Okay, and that will actually start on the 22nd of March. Okay, that's a certification program. This session that I do is the life analysis session. Okay. Yes, Osama. I think the certification, yes. Okay. Have you, Osama, your question about certification of FIBO series, the quiz will be sent out very soon if you have not got it already, and then the certification after the quiz has been passed. Okay, once you have passed the quiz, yes. All right, it will be sent out. No worries. We just had a minor adjustment onto the quiz questions the other day, so hence a bit of a delay. Yes, but I've already fixed it, so that's been out, and the team here will have that sent to you via email. Okay. All right, guys. So I'll wrap it up right now, and I would like to say a big thank you to all that have actually attended today's live session, and I'll see you guys again next week, same time. It will be decided whether Monday or Tuesday, but it will be the same time. Okay. Thank you, Osama. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Colin. Bye bye. Thank you very much. See you again. Bye bye.